is also kind of interesting. Browns need to take note. 2024 running backs, 7 of the top 10 rushing teams made the playoffs. Philadelphia, Super Bowl bound because of Saquon Barkley's running in the playoffs, 442 yards, 5 touchdowns. Also had a pretty good offensive line, but I digress. There's a resurgence in the value of running backs, and this is a good running back class. And again, Jerome Ford's just fine. You need a guy that can push Jerome Ford to 1A, I think.
Well, and I think, we're going to get to his name in a little bit here. You certainly have, what's going to work out with Nick Chubb. And, if there's ever, something that maybe, I've been maybe just a little bit questioning of, the Browns draft history in the last couple of years, it's probably been, basically chasing the market that seems hot or bountiful or deep. I last year thought the running back class, although it was shallow, was pretty good. And a lot of those guys, were available and did go on day 3. Bucky Irving from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, just one example. Now, they think they want to go back to the wide zone. Well, there are plenty of backs, rookies that would fit that scheme. Hampton certainly would fit that scheme from North Carolina. Caleb Johnson from Iowa is another one. I think Trevion Henderson from Ohio State would flourish in that system as well. You need to get younger in that room. And look, there are some that think Jerome Ford might get pushed, to, maybe the top running back here. Well, if Jerome Ford has a good year as running back 1, Jerome Ford is a free agent at the end of the year. I think this is a situation where the Browns need to get into something 1 year early as opposed to maybe 1 year late. I did not like the way they put the room together last year. I did not understand, the Foreman signing in any way whatsoever. And I'm not saying it should have been Kareem Hunt. I'm just saying you should have gotten some fresh legs into that room. The question about, how big of a factor as it is in, you're talking some of it is due to upper echelon, certainly Saquon, certainly, King Henry, these, the upper echelon backs of the NFL. And not everybody necessarily has the finances to make that work. But we always get these ebbs and flows. And if you think about it yesterday, it was a great AFC championship game between both those teams. But there were times where it was like, what are we doing handing the ball off? You got 17 on one side, you got 15 on the other. If I'm going down swinging, I'm going down with the ball in 15's hands or the ball in 17's hands. And I'm not talking about quarterback sneaks or any of that stuff that went on. But, you have teams trying to, diversify, their offenses and trying to get, a little bit more balanced. And the fact that people are so much keying on the passing game these days that you basically want to go, zag to the zig. And this is certainly a class. And this running back class is tremendous. You look at just some of the rankings right now, and you're talking about guys who probably put up 2,500, 3,000 yards in college, and they're slated as, 5th, 6th, 7th rounders, ridiculous class of running backs. And the Browns, with all of the assets they have, this should certainly be the year where they try to start to find a little bit of the future to that room.